And showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. A look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network. I am also one of your co-hosts on this program. I am joined, as I am every week, by your other host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement consultant for MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Rich. I'm here at home base in sunny Southern California. Where do you happen to be today?
You know, I'm just a stone's throw away from you if you really have a good throwing arm. I'm in Long Beach, California. I've been on the road all week. Actually, I was at the RSA conference, the big security show in San Francisco earlier in the week, and then I came down here to Long Beach to attend the first ASCII event of the year.
Fantastic. I'm excited to I'm excited for today's 5-minute roundup, but a little saddened that I couldn't make it there with you since it is only a stone's throw away. But we will soldier on.
We will indeed, and we will plunge into this week's top story as well at this point, which is actually based on some reporting I did at the RSA conference. I had an opportunity to sit down with Craig Stillwell, who is the vice president at OpenText in charge of their SMB and consumer business. Now, OpenText is a name that might not resonate with a lot of people watching right now because they've mostly been an enterprise company, but these are the folks who bought Carbonite late last year. And Carbonite, of course, about a year ago, bought Webroot. So at that time, when Carbonite bought Webroot, the security vendor, the thinking within Carbonite was, look, we've got two vendors that are doing quite well. They've got very successful partner programs, so let's not mess with success. And they kind of left things status quo for a while. But last summer, they started thinking ahead to how do we begin to merge not only the partner programs, but some of the technologies from these two different companies. And they were charging down that road when OpenText came in and bought Carbonite, and that sort of put the whole process on hold. But I got an update from Craig Stillwell this week at RSA, and he says that round about July, if everything stays on target, the Carbonite partner program and the Webroot partner program are going to roll together and become a single partner program going together with a single set of tiers and requirements and benefits and so on. We didn't get a lot of detail on any of that yet, obviously, because it's still a good 5 months out. But they will have tracks within the program for resellers and MSPs. The Carbonite channel today is very VAR heavy. The Webroot channel is very MSP heavy. Everyone's going to get some benefits in there and pricing and the like that are aligned with their business model. And then we also got some news from them about plans that are also going to be unfolding over the course of the year in terms of integrating Carbonite products with Webroot products. And that'll begin with rolling some of the Carbonite products into the global site manager tool that Webroot partners have been using for a long time as a sort of centralized administration console. They're going to be able to continue managing their Webroot tools there over time. Beginning this year, they're going to also be able to start managing the Carbonite products they use in that same console, which will be handy. And then as you look towards mid-year, they're going to start actually integrating those Carbonite and Webroot products a little bit so that if, for example, the Webroot product detects that a ransomware attack has attempted or is attempting to tamper with a backup, it can block that. Or if there has been a breach of some kind, the Carbonite product can automatically roll data back to its pre-breach state. So we're going to be seeing that kind of stuff as well. So, for anyone out there who has been a Carbonite partner or a Webroot partner in the past, kind of wondering how all this acquisition activity in the last 12 months is going to affect them, you're going to start seeing some real tangible impact from these various acquisitions coming up. And, the folks at OpenText are trying to be as reassuring as they can that this is all going to be good for you. There will be some change, but they're saying no disruption.
Yeah, and they're pretty transparent about, there being a little bit of a hiccup in their synergy strategy, but now, back on track according to your reporting, Rich. What I really loved was the coin that they the term that they coined. Yeah, a little dyslexic today. The term that they coined, cyber resilience. right? I thought that was really unique. And boy, I hope they, they think about, trying to trademark that, because that is, I don't hear that, right? Cyber resilience. And I love that, part of the roadmap, is just what you mentioned here in the last part of your commentary, where, it can automatically detect, because of the integration now, uh, automatically detect some sort of an intrusion to try to, change backups and things like that and block it. And then even to the point of, if something has been breached and data has been changed, to go ahead and restore that data back. Holy cow, how much time can that save the MSP that's managing those customers, and the peace of mind that they can promote to their customers and prospects with these types of abilities. It just that's really, really unique and something that I hadn't heard before. So that's really interesting to me.
And it was the very core of the thinking behind Carbonite buying Webroot in the first place. So it's not a new message, certainly, that BDR is that last layer of defense in a complete security strategy. But the idea of a BDR vendor, a backup vendor, coming together with a security vendor and really sort of weaving these two product sets together is one of the really animating ideas behind the Webroot acquisition, before the other being, of course, that Webroot introduces Carbonite into the MSP channel. But yeah, that whole cyber resilience theme is something that folks are going to be hearing a lot more of going forward. That is going to be the message from OpenText's Carbonite and Webroot group going forward.
Cool.
Well, let's move on to your tip of the week, which has to do with everybody's favorite topic, numbers crunching. But I am intrigued to learn more, because there's actually a horror story at the heart of this particular bit of advice.
Absolutely. And before I introduce the tip of the week, I want to remind our viewers to send us your desired tips of the week. Are you struggling with some decisions coming up? Are there topics that you'd like to see me cover? Send your comments to tips@ericksimpson.com. And if I pick one of your emails as the topic or the tip of the week, I'll send you a complete set of my 4 best-selling books. So please send over all of your requests and help us really dive into the topics that you would like us to cover on these business tips of the week. So today's tip of the week is really specifically for folks thinking about growing through acquisition, acquiring another organization. And, Rich, we've talked in previous 5-minute roundups about the strategy that I'm using with a lot of MSPs and partners that, are having trouble hiring good talent, engineers and salespeople and things like that, because the job market is so tight and locked up right now. And they're turning towards acquiring smaller organizations, for lots of other benefits, but of course to gain that talent. And I was speaking with an MSP recently, and they did share kind of a horror story. They went at this kind of on their own. They went through an acquisition with another MSP, and they felt like, hey, we've been doing this for many, many years. We know how to look at financials. We know how to, we understand P&Ls. We looked at agreements. We did all these things. But after the acquisition happened and the way the whole deal was structured, the seller kind of just walked away and got paid. They found lots of discrepancies in the financials. I mean, up to and including maybe potentially, a different set of books and things like that. And they said, had we now, if we're going to do that again, we will definitely hire what's called, and they mentioned this because they went through legal issues and all this as a result. They mentioned, well, we're going to make sure that we involve a forensic accountant. Now, this isn't just a normal accountant. This is a special type of an accountant that can go in and look for irregularities and be able to spot things very, very quickly that just don't add up. So, the guidance here is, look, if you're, acquiring organizations or you're going to do your first acquisition, this could be the highest risk you ever put yourself in your business career up to this point. So don't go it alone. engage with some folks that have done this before, that you can, get some assistance from. And, the financials are the first place you need to look before moving forward with any kind of a letter of intent or anything like that. If the numbers don't add up, then that's a red flag. And as they said, hey, if there's one red flag, walk away, because that's just the one you found right now. There probably are others.
What a great piece of peer-to-peer advice there. I mean, it really is emblematic of why peer-to-peer advice on the channel is such a valuable commodity. Why we try to share it at ChannelPro is these folks learned a very painful lesson about what can happen if you don't scrutinize the numbers that are presented to you in that really careful way. And so anyone who is watching now, hopefully will take that to heart and can avoid that painful kind of experience. It's a little sad too, isn't it, that this kind of thing happens, that somebody's selling their business. It sounds like there could be fraud involved here, but it happens. I'm sure this is not the first time it's ever happened. It won't be the last. So don't let that scare you away from making an acquisition if it's a smart thing to do for your company, but go about it thoroughly and make sure you know what you're buying.
Yeah, inspect, expect what you inspect, right? So, trust but verify, get some folks, and as they said, we've run our company for 20 years. We know what things look and smell like, but every time they had a question or a concern, there was always an easy answer that they, oh, that makes sense, right? So yeah, it was definitely, the seller had, not the most pure motives in exiting that company and offloading it to, to the buyers.
Well, good solid advice there. Hopefully it spares some people who are watching the 5-minute roundup here a little bit of pain. Speaking of pain, we've got time for just one more story here. And, I'll just jump right ahead to the moral of the story, which is something that we all know: backups. Back up your data, people. Whatever that data is, back it up. And here's a further illustration of that, and involves a drug dealer in Ireland who learned the importance of backing up data the hard way. So drug dealer, he kept all of his money in Bitcoins. The only way to get access to your Bitcoins, you got to have the codes, right? He kept his codes on paper, had them written down one place, apparently in his apartment. His landlord came through and cleaned the place out. Must have been a mess. Threw away the codes. Codes are gone, folks. Bitcoins are gone. How much Bitcoin are we talking about here? $60 million worth of Bitcoins erased in an apartment cleaning episode because no backups, Eric.
Everybody needs to have a strong backup strategy, no matter what your chosen profession is, right? But yeah, I read that story myself, Rich, and it just blew my mind. I'm thinking, here's somebody that basically, grew and sold marijuana and then invested all of those proceeds into Bitcoin. So smart from an entrepreneurial perspective, right? Having $60 million, but the encryption keys sitting on a piece of paper, in I think it said it was in a fishing kind of a tube where he kept his fishing rods. And what ended up happening was, he got picked up and ended up doing a little time. And that's why the landlord came in and said, well, all this stuff is going to the dump, and just erased $60 million worth of Bitcoin for this person. Amazing.
Well, again, maybe another lesson for folks out there in our audience today. If you have millions of dollars worth of Bitcoins, make sure you don't keep the codes on one slip of paper with your fishing rod. Words to live by. So that is all the time we've got this week on the 5-minute roundup. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like the show, you'd like to maybe take a look at some episodes you've missed from the past, keep up on episodes in the future as they become available, what you want to do is go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube and subscribe. Make sure you click that little bell there if you want to get notifications when the new episodes go up. To read more about OpenText and Carbonite and Webroot and other stuff going on at RSA and get business growth advice, thing to do is go to the channelpronetwork.com website on a daily basis. We have got great new content for you going up there all the time. You want to learn more about Eric and the work that he does with his clients, your destination should be ericksimpson.com, ERICK Simpson.com. That is all the time we've got this week. We will be back next week with another episode of the 5-Minute Roundup for you. Until then, folks, please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.